Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's a beautiful day for the Redskins and the Giants in the mid-60s. Here at MetLife, let's go down to the field and Aaron Andrews.
Joe, there is a zero-tolerance policy from this officiating crew today, and referee John Hussey wanted to make that point known early. He spoke with both head coaches, and originally he wanted to grab Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman together on the field during pregame, but both players didn't want to do that. So he spoke with them one-on-one, telling them, we're going to call it tight, no funny business today, and do not make a mockery out of this game. Joe?
All right, well, all eyes were on number 13 and number 24 last year, week 15, when Norman was with Carolina. Turned into a great game. 5 penalties between them. No ejections. 25-yard line is where the first offensive possession will begin, Troy, for Eli Manning. And you can look at the numbers. He's had 2 great years with McAdoo coordinating this offense. Now he's the head coach, and Eli's never been off to a better start.
Well, you see right there the completion percentage, almost 74%, and I think that's kind of what Ben McAdoo had in mind when he took over a couple years ago as the offensive coordinator. High percentage passing game. Some of the underneath, intermediate type throws. He's been outstanding here through the first 2 weeks of this year.
Norman lurking across from Beckham, a handoff to Vereen, and a gain of just 2. Meanwhile, Rashad Jennings, the top running back for the Giants, inactive with the left thumb and wrist injury, so they are starting the game with Vereen in the backfield, and you see where they rank. Throwing the ball this season, and as Troy said, the completion percentage is up, the quarterback rating is up for Eli. Second and 8. Donnell, the tight end, big hit. And it's Norman who drags him down. A gain of 1. It'll bring up 3rd down and long. And there's Norman and Pugh. There's a guy you didn't expect to be in the face of Josh Norman. The 2 plays in. Justin Pugh, but there he is. And you see what the Redskins defense has allowed per game. Points wise. 3rd and 7. Eli in trouble, out to his left and just throws it away. Good start for the Redskins D. Donnell the closest to it, and it's 3 and out for the Giants offensively.
Well, it's a good start for this Redskins defense to force a 3 and out. There it is, 3rd and 7. That's a down that they have really struggled on. Worst in the National Football League, giving up well over 50%. So to get off the field on their first 3rd down look, that's a good start.
Brad Wing will punt it. Jamison Crowder waits for it. Line drive punt. Flag is down. And the ball is loose, free. Giants have it. As Harris comes away with the ball. The officials get together. I don't know if an official picked up the flag. There was one down early. It's a turnover, so they're going to look at it anyway, but we'll get the call from John Hussey.
During the return, holding, receiving team. That penalty will be declined. The ruling on the field is the ball was touched by a member of the receiving team. The kicking team recovered the ball legally. First down.
So an early mistake by the Washington Redskins, and let's take a look and see who touched it.
Sure enough, there's a touch. Quentin Dunbar is the one who touched it. Just a poor decision on his part getting near it, and then Dwayne Harris alertly dives on the ball to give the Giants a short field.
So it's Dunbar who touched it. Harris recovers, and the Giants have it at the Washington 28. Hand off to Vereen. Hop through a couple of tacklers and down inside the.
This is one of the top plays in this Giants offense, and they've been really good at it through the first 2 weeks of the season. And Shane Vereen, who, as you said, is getting the start for the injured Rashad Jennings. It's a nice game.
118.
Quick throw, pass caught. That's the rookie Shepard down to the 1. Francois on the tackle. Jean-Francois after a catch and run of 12.
That's just a great route on the inside, but there's just nobody challenging him at the slot position. And Sterling Shepard is, really, I think, surprised a lot of people. Obviously, they expected him to come in and play well, but he's been outstanding as a Redskins on the field.
Believe it's Bashad Breeland who is down. We'll take a timeout.
It's sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
It was Bashad Breeland who was down and injured on that last play. That'd be a big loss for the Redskins. First and goal from the 1. Vereen, touchdown, Giants. Exactly what the Redskins, Troy, at 0-2 didn't want to happen. They turn it over, and the Giants pound it right in.
Yeah, something the Giants haven't had much of here in the early going is the short field, but they get the turnover, they get good field position, and they finish off that drive with a nice run by Shane Vereen, and just excellent execution.
It was Quentin Dunbar that touched the ball. We checked in with Mike Pereira during the break. Low snap, good hold, 7-0. And Mike Pereira said that he thought it was a force of Dunbar into the touch, but it's not reviewable. And that turnover leads to 7. Belongs to Vereen. So does a 7-0 lead to the Giants.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Beer with your team on it.
Before the kickoff, let's go back to the injury for Bashad Breeland. Number 26, a corner that's been picked on because he's the guy playing opposite Josh Norman. Meanwhile, on the touchdown run, look at this between Norman and Beckham. And obviously it's going to get a lot more attention because of last year and the 5 fouls between them and the back and forth that went on in week 15.
Yeah, well, look, they don't like each other. A little gamesmanship there by Odell Beckham Jr. acting as though the ball was being thrown his way and getting a reaction from Josh Norman.
A kickoff out of bounds, and that'll bring the ball out to the 40. So that's no good. Josh Brown. Well, let's see, Troy. Kirk Cousins, it's been said before that the toughest job in Washington is the president of the United States, followed closely behind by quarterback of the Washington Redskins. And it looked like they found their guy with what he did down the stretch last year. But here we are 2 games in. There's seemingly infighting and reports of finger pointing, and some want to get rid of him already. What do you see from him when you look at tape?
Well, I think fundamentally I don't see anything. I think he's still going through proper technique. I just think he's put a lot of pressure on himself. He's missing throws that he typically makes, and when you're getting paid what he's getting paid, you're looked upon as a franchise guy, and you got to make those throws, and he missed many of them last week.
Handoff is to Jones, and Matt Jones runs into a pile in this Giants defense. While they don't have any takeaways, they have been solid through 2 weeks. This is a pass-heavy offense, as you talked about, Troy, and now as Matt Jones checks out, I would expect to see more from Jones today.
Well, I would expect to see a little bit more. I know week 1 against Pittsburgh, they thought it was going to be tough sledding to run the football, so they spread them out, throw the ball. Last week they got away from the running game. Really no excuse in that ball game. I think they're going to have a hard time running the football against this Giants defense.
Delayed handoff to Thompson. Gets a block or 2, and Chris Thompson knocked down right at midfield. They're going to give him a first down. Eli Apple on the tackle. And so far, this Giants defense, Troy, allowing just 71 rush yards a game.
Yeah, and as soon as I say they're going to have a tough time running the football, they rattle off 8 yards and pick up the first down. So a good run by Chris Thompson. I think this offensive line for the Redskins, they've certainly done an outstanding job in pass protection. But to go back to your point about this Giants defense, they have been outstanding through 2 games.
Little roll out to the right. The pass is caught for a first down, and a good effort by Garcon. He made the catch, got through the hit, picks up 11, and a good throw from Cousins.
Well, I like the call here offensively to get Kirk Cousins. I think it's real important. His staff knows that he's under the gun, and it's been a tough week for him. You roll him out, get him on the edge, and give him some easy throws early.
Cousins hangs in, finds Jones out of the backfield. Big number 31, and he is big. 6'2", 232 is good for 6, forced out by Collins.
In fact, Matt Jones, they compare him a lot. In fact, Scott McCloughan, the general manager, compares him a lot to Marshawn Lynch, who McCloughan was with there at his time in Seattle, and I think it's a fair comparison. They're both very physical runners, of course. Everyone knows what Marshawn Lynch was and what he meant to that offense, but Matt Jones, for those that aren't familiar with him, he's that same type of powerful runner.
More for Jones, cuts upfield. And not much. Third down and short coming up, a gain of 1. And Damon Snacks Harrison, who has been an outstanding addition to this defense, was right in the middle of it for the Giants.
Yeah, now I think that's the thing. You know, so many times these big bodies is now Corey Lichtensteiger, but you see Snacks Harrison, so many times these big bodies just occupy blockers, but not only does he do that, but he makes plays, he makes tackles. He's very athletic for his size.
Lichtensteiger, who's been bothered by back spasms this week, is on a knee. We'll take a timeout.
This is sponsored by Ford F-Series, the official truck of the NFL. By Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. And by Sprint, switch and save today. Learn more at sprint.com/network.
Third down and 2 as Spencer Long takes over at center for Lichtensteiger, who got a hand inside his face mask. Redskins are inside field goal range. Pass is incomplete. And we'll see if Jay Gruden wants to kick it or go for it. And the field goal unit comes on as Jordan Reed was the intended target. Here's Lichtensteiger on the previous play, and you can see Kelvin Shepard, his right hand into the right eye of Lichtensteiger. That's why he had to come out, and we'll see a 49-yard attempt here by Dustin Hopkins. Hopkins is good. Plenty of room to spare now. 7 for 7 in his second year with the Redskins, and Washington's on the board.
And there's speculation as to whether or not Jay Gruden would maybe go for it there on 4th down. I think, as you see the ball go through the uprights, I think in light of what's happened and being down 7, you got to come away with some points. I think it was the right call, and Hopkins comes through for him.
The war of words this week. Keenan Robinson, who spent 4 years with the Washington Redskins, had this to say. Now he's with the Giants. Once they get down, they start pointing fingers, and that's true. That is what happens. D'Angelo Hall, his former teammate, said, Keenan said that? That's interesting. Where's he playing at? I didn't know he was even on a team. You can print that, so it's some of the stuff that goes back and forth between these two sides.
Yeah, and players don't like when a player goes to another team and they violate a code and start talking about what might have happened when they were with that team. And so I'm not surprised by D'Angelo Hall's comments. Nobody likes it. And I'm not surprised that he's the one who stepped up and said it. He's always been a vocal guy, a very opinionated guy since he came into the league.
Redskins took advantage of that kick out of bounds by Josh Brown. Started that last drive at the 40, and they come away with 3, and now Eli Manning will start at the 25, and we will check in with Kurt Menefee.
Joe, it's actually me. I'm helping out Kurt right now. Detroit at Green Bay, first home game for the Packers, opening drive. Aaron Rodgers with the 14-yard pass play to Devontae Adams. Pack up 7-0. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Carissa, what have you done with Kurt Menefee? Somebody investigate that back in Los Angeles. Never trusted her. First down for Eli at the 25. Orleans Darkwa in the backfield. Again, no Rashad Jennings for the Giants. Banding over the middle to Will Tye, the tight end. Tye's good for 5. Will Compton, one of the inside linebackers there for the stop.
You know, so much talk coming in, Joe, about the matchup with Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr. And we've seen Josh Norman now travel with him for most of these snaps. But as we've seen, Eli's got a lot of weapons to get the ball to.
Here is Darkwa. Third and short coming up.
And I don't think he's going to get locked in to just trying to feed the ball to Odell Beckham. I know that when I was playing and we had Michael Irvin and he'd face Deion Sanders, you give him his opportunities. He's going to win his battles and Norman's going to win his. But there's some good guys to throw the football to.
Quick throw and it's tied for a first down. Wrapped up by Sua Cravens. We'll look at some of the key inactives. Josh Doxson, who is the first-round pick for the Redskins, out. He has Achilles tendonitis, and the Giants are without not just their running back, but their starting right tackle and their young rookie safety, Darian Thompson.
Well, you mentioned Bobby Hart, who's starting for Newhouse at right tackle. He struggled at guard in the preseason. It'll be interesting to see how he holds up. So far, so good for him.
Handoff to Vereen. And Shane Vereen out to midfield. 14-yard carry for number 34.
You know, we saw this a lot week 1 when they opened up against Dallas. Shane Vereen, who, he makes a man miss. Will Compton there in the hole. He doesn't make the play, an unblocked defender, but Shane Vereen, who he's so highly regarded as a receiver, I think he's a much better runner than what he gets credit for, and he shows it there.
Hey, Panther! Around! Get the ball. Hey, Panther!
Vereen again. And he's good for a couple.
Yeah, this running game for the Giants, they came out week 1 against Dallas and really controlled the line of scrimmage. And there were some question marks coming into that first game with this offensive line. They had not played well in the preseason. Ran the ball very well in that game. Last week against New Orleans, not so much. But they're off to a good start here.
Beckham and Norman across from one another at the bottom. This is Bobby Rainey on the screen. Down the sideline and a huge catch and run for the Giants. Good for 24.
Just the perfect call. They bring the backer and he's in a position there and Rainey slips him. They get the block and then it's just a lot of open space there for Rainey. So a good call at the right time by Ben McAdoo. Results in a big game.
Perfectly balanced to start the day are the Giants, leading by 4. From the 23. End zone. Beckham nearly picked by Norman. And wouldn't Josh Norman have loved that moment as he flashed in front of number 13?
Well, one thing about it is when you're throwing the ball against him, you got to be real precise with the football. It's a good route, excellent route by Odell Beckham, just a little late on the throw, and you've got to anticipate that so much. But I thought Eli was going to go down the middle to Sterling Shepard. He got the safety help working to Odell Beckham, open to Shepard, and they're fortunate that Norman didn't make a play on that ball.
That was the first time Eli's targeted Beckham. Here's a rookie Shepard touchdown. Boy, the Giants have found one with their second rounder out of Oklahoma.
Well, he's so good. I mean, he runs route as a veteran. You watch him as he comes off the ball. He starts to the middle, and it's that move right there that freezes the corner just enough to where he can then take the middle of the field and beat his man. Deshaun Phillips, who's the nickel corner, he has to slow down, thinking that Shepard's going to run across the field, and then once he goes vertical, really, there was not much he could do about it.
He was known as the best route runner in the past draft, and he has shown that through 2+ games. That kid is going to be something with the Giants. He's got his second touchdown in his young rookie season, and the Giants now lead it by 11. Last week against the Saints, the Giants offense racked up 417 yards, 75 plays, did not have an offensive touchdown. Got the win. Their only touchdown was a special team score. Well, they've got 2 early here and lead 14-3. Browns' last kickoff went out of bounds. Now this one, Blackman will take a knee. Back to the touchdown.
You take a look, the Redskins are going to play a 2-deep safety coverage. You see here, he's coming out. Here's Josh Norman. He's getting helped by the safety. The middle of the field wide open, and that's where Sterling Shepard has to win, and that's where Eli Manning's going to go with the ball. You got safeties going out wide. The middle of the field's open, and when you can depend on a guy like he's been able to with Sterling Shepard to win on those looks, well, that's real comfort to a quarterback, and through 3 games, Sterling Shepard has been phenomenal.
Last week, Sterling had a 100-yard game on 8 catches, 117 to be exact, and a touchdown. Now he's got another, and how do the Redskins respond? They respond on the ground as the handoff is to Matt Jones. Jones, a nice gain of 6, knocked down by Kennard.
And as much as, we already talked about how running the football is going to be a challenge against this Giants defense. Nice gain there on first down, but even if they're having some success, if their own defense doesn't start making some plays, down 14-3 here, they might have to start relying on Kirk Cousins a little more than they certainly would like.
Hey, kid! H2! Bingo! CDD! Rhino, son!
Second down and 4. Cousins, sideline, incomplete for Garcon. Third down and 4. A lot going on at the line of scrimmage prior to the snap.
Yeah, and then at the end of this play, Cousins gets drilled pretty good in the pocket. He couldn't hold on to it quite as long as he'd like, and talked about it last week, the pass protection that Cousins has been afforded. He got sacked twice in that loss to the Cowboys, but I think that, Joe, those were the only 2 times he was hit in that ball game, but here in the early going, a free rusher right in his face.
That was Olivier Vernon who got in. Third and 4. Flushed out to his right. Pass is caught. Jordan Reed, first down. And a nice conversion on third down to a tight end target that, well, no other tight end has caught more first downs than Jordan Reed over the past 2 years.
To me, he's like Rob Gronkowski. I mean, he's listed as a tight end, but he's basically a 240-something pound wide receiver who's terrific. He had a heck of a season last year. He's a difficult matchup. He can really pretty much do it all. Hard to cover when he splits out wide like that and all the things that he's capable of doing.
Cousins keeps it down the middle. Got a man. Pass is caught. And that is Garcon. Pierre good for 20 after the 14-yarder to Reed.
Pierre Garcon, he runs the intermediate route inside. They had Deshaun Jackson clearing out the middle, so you get the deep safeties out of the way, and you've got a lot of room then to operate in a clean pocket for Cousins. He delivers a strike.
Nothing in the direction of Deshaun Jackson yet. He was slow during the week with ankle and knee issues. He's on the sideline on first down. Blitz. Jones into a pile of people and a gain of 1. Well, look out. Zorn is here, and he's going to slay Fox Sundays. TV's most original new comedy is being called Really Funny and Hilariously Weird. Son of Zorn comes to Concord tonight. Check it out after The Simpsons right here on Fox. There's Jackson, who has been a home run hitter, whether with Philadelphia or with the Redskins. He's got 8 career touchdowns against the Giants with all those NFC East battles. Nothing yet today. 2nd and 9. Pass is caught just inside the 30. And it's Jordan Reed, good for 5. Jonathan Casillas, who is a defensive captain and a nice addition to this Giants defense, is there for the stop. He was all over last year, finally got to settle in this year.
Yeah, they settled him in there, weak side linebacker, and he's played better as a result of it. That, you know, he's been able to focus on one position, but this is the down. This is a manageable 3rd down distance for the Redskins, and it's a down that they've got to win.
Pass is caught, 1st down. That's Crowder. And the little receiver, Jamison Crowder, has his 13th catch of the year.
Well, you talk about tough matchups. He's another one of those guys, too. And they picked him up last year really to be a punt returner, and then he won the job as a wide receiver. They stacked the receivers out there, 3rd and short, and then he runs an out route. With his quickness and speed, he's a difficult guy to cover, and a real quarterback-friendly type receiver when someone can create the kind of separation that he does.
A couple of nice 3rd down conversions for the Redskins on this drive, down 11.
Hey, 70, 70, 70. Here we go.
Pass is low, incomplete for Reed. And because that pass was low, Reed got blasted by Eli Apple.
Just a throw that, you know, was one that, you know, certainly could have been caught, but you'd like it up a little bit higher. He does take a hit there at the end of the play by Eli Apple, but you know, that's indicative of some of the things that we've kind of seen from Cousins. He's a more accurate passer, you know, than what we've seen, but he's been good here today.
2nd and 10. Delayed handoff, Thompson. Brought down from behind. Tackle made by Bromley. Another 3rd down coming up for Washington.
And this is where this Giants defense has been good. You know, you think back again to that Week 1 game and Dallas being able to move the ball, but then they toughened up and played good red zone defense. And in a lot of ways, that's what this league has come down to. Which teams are forcing opponents to kick field goals and not giving up the touchdown. So another big 3rd down here once again.
Good protection. Pass is caught, but short of the 1st down. That's Jamison Crowder again.
Kirk Cousins really did not want to go down to Crowder. He knew he was short of the 1st down, and it was going to be tough to pick up the 1st. He held it, but good coverage down the field by this Giants secondary forced Cousins to come underneath, and then you rally and you come up and you make a play.
33-yard try coming from Dustin Hopkins. He was 7 for 7 on the year. And 2 for 2 today. It's a 14-6 Giants lead as they're about to get it back here at MetLife. 14-6 game prior to the kick. I'll show you what happened prior to the game. This is during the national anthem. 4 players, including Deshaun Jackson, were a raised right fist, exercising their right to free speech. Part of the protest across parts of the National Football League for social injustice, and a movement that was started by Colin Kaepernick and has been carried onto sidelines across the NFL through 3 weeks. Interesting comments by Rashad Jennings during the week about that topic when he was asked if the Giants would have any demonstrations on their sideline. We'll get to that in a moment. Right now we'll go down to the sideline and check in with Aaron Andrews.
Well, when we saw Rashad Breeland being taken off the sidelines, he was talking with the trainers about the way he actually planted his ankle, and now we're hearing from the Redskins he is out of this game with an ankle injury. A lot of conversations with the secondary for Washington just saying, come on now, we have to pick up this offense. We have to help these guys out. They're going to have to do it now without Breland.
Yeah, and a big piece not there on the other side of the defense from Josh Norman. As the drive starts yet again at the 25 for the Giants. Play action pass batted down. And just to finish, with regard to the Giants, Rashad Jennings was asked if the Giants were planning any demonstration on the sideline. Rashad, reached out to the NYPD last month to open a dialogue with new police commissioner James O'Neill. There's Rashad. And he said, what I think we're going to do is stand and play ball and find another way to attack the issue outside of the national anthem. And that was indeed the case, as it was business as usual for the Giants on their sideline during the anthem. 2nd and 10. Handoff to Vereen. He's got a nice day going so far. 3rd and long coming up as Mason Foster drags down Vereen after a gain of 2. And that will do it for the opening quarter in this matchup between the Giants and the Redskins. 0-2 against 2-0, and all the conversation about 13 and 24. Not much for either. A near miss for Norman. Almost got a pick early. 14-6. Back after this from your local Fox station. Giants have been shut out in the opening quarter. The first 2 games. Not the story today. Took advantage of an early turnover. Touchdown for Vereen, a touchdown for Shepard. 3rd down here, and the pass. Beckham is first of the day. And number 24 was there trailing. A gain of 26.
Really great route here by Odell Beckham at the top of the route. He makes the move to the post, and you see that Norman is just in a trail technique and unable to keep up with him. And once again, the Giants able to convert on 3rd down, and that's been in the Achilles heel of this Washington defense. Really in the early part of this year, giving up well over 50% on 3rd down and 3rd and longs, and that was a 3rd and long there, and yet a wide open throw for Eli Manning.
Looks like Beckham came away limping after that catch. Fine right now. Down as Manning, ball is out. It was knocked out by Chris Baker, and the Giants were able to get back on top of it. That's the 3rd fumble of the season for Eli Manning.
Well, John Jerry, the right guard, he's there, and he looks like he's going to give help, and there's just then nobody on Chris Baker.
And it's Jerry who gets on top of the football as Eli almost gave it back. So far, the only turnover belongs to Washington. 2nd and 22 now. On the ground, and hello to Orleans Darkwood Kerrigan. What a hit by number 91, a loss of 1. And let's go back to Beckham, the catch and a little rollover on that left ankle on the 1st down catch on 3rd and long. And then Manning got crunched by Baker. 3rd and 24.
Darkwa got crunched by Eric.
Delayed handoff, Darkwa. Time to punt, flag though. Checked out. And it's a hold against the Giants.
Well, they want a hat too, so you got the flag down, and heard some language down there, and then there went the hat. So another penalty on the play.
So there are 2 fouls. If it's offsetting, we could have another 3rd and long. And it's John Hussey who has to get through all the explanations and try and come up with one for the rest of us.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the same team. Holding, offense number 70. That penalty is declined. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 70 of the offense. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the end of the run, 4th down.
So that's both against Weston Richburg, who's really becoming one of the better young centers in the league.
Yeah, now you back it up, and now field position comes into play. But after giving up the third down completion to Odell Beckham, this Redskins defense, really 3 nice plays to force this punt, then aided by the penalty.
So Brad Wing will punt it. It's 4th and 33 after all that. Beckham made that catch on third down, his first of the day. Crowder waits for the punt. High snap and a line drive punt as a result. That worked out well for Brad Wing. Crowder goes to the sideline and out to the near side. What a return. No flags on the field, and Crowder is going to still take it into Giants territory. What a return.
How about that return?
And if the Redskins needed a jump start, it's number 80 who just gave it to him. A 57-yard punt, a 52-yard punt return.
Well, on the punt, the Giants got the good bounce. It looked like Crowder was going to be dead in the rights right around the sideline. He makes that guy miss, and then he breaks about 4 other tackles when it looked like he was going to the ground. It was Eli Apple who initially looked like he had him and was going to keep the Redskins from having much field position at all, but to traverse field, maintain his balance. There's some big-time blocks down the field as well, and a great return to set up this offense.
That block was Duke Iheanacho, who came in for the Redskins. Crowder came awfully close to stepping out of bounds before taking it to the Giants 36, but that's where Kirk Cousins has it. Down by 8, Matt Jones, right side, cuts up field. Got maybe a yard. How about that block by Duke Iheanacho as he'll flash in right there. And he does it against the man who talked during the week, Keenan Robinson, the former Redskin.
Well, those are the types of plays that you need to have. Oftentimes you talk about explosive plays, and they typically are on the offensive side of the ball, but the kicking game, special teams, Crowder to show off his skills as a returner, that's an excellent job. And like I said, Iheanacho and others keeping the play alive with some good down the field blocks.
Jay Gruden called that timeout. A career-long punt return by Jamison Crowder, 52-yarder. Timeout, Washington.
Fox is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Bring home the flavor only at Pizza Hut. By Miller Lite, the original light beer. And by Chevrolet, more 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand.
Odell Beckham's been on the sideline testing out that ankle. Meanwhile, 2nd down and 9 for Kirk Cousins. Hand off to Thompson. Thompson gets a hit while he's on the ground from Casillas. A gain of 3 down to Aaron Andrews we go.
Well, let's be honest. There's been rumblings all week out of this Washington Redskins locker room. There was also kind of some conversation that there was a players meeting last night. I spoke to D'Angelo Hall about that, and he said, I wouldn't say it was a chew-out meeting. It was more or less, let's get a few things off of our chest. I'll tell you a little bit more after this.
3rd down and 6. Cousins fires, passes, caught for the 1st down. That's Garcon. Aaron, finish up.
D'Angelo just mentioned, look, we need to clear the air about a few things. We're 0-2, and this can get out of hand with a loss today against the Giants. He did say, look, not all of this is on Kirk Cousins, and everyone needs to know we are not blaming him. But we are saying everyone needs to play better, including him, and he said including all of us. Joe?
Well, D'Angelo's been around a long time, 13th year in the league, and so that clearing of the air last night, I like the tempo of this offense today so far. It's 1st down. Cousins. End zone underthrown. Wide open was Rashad Ross. A flag is down, and it's against the Redskins. Wouldn't have counted anyway. But Cousins missed one there.
It was hard to tell exactly if he was trying to get the ball to Rashad Ross, or I think it was Jordan Reed, the underneath guy, if it was an overthrow on him.
Offense number 71. 10-yard penalty. first down.
Again, wouldn't have mattered. Left tackle Trent Williams guilty of a hold.
You see him out there on the end of the line there against Olivier Vernon. That's the hold there, and then you go back to the throw, and look, Jordan Reed there in the middle, and no, he's trying to get the ball, deep, and yet just an underthrow. Like you said, it didn't matter. To go back to Aaron's report, though, Joe, the one thing about it is Kirk Cousins isn't ducking into the criticism. He's handled it like a pro. He's been a stand-up guy. He said he's got to play better. He understands it comes with the territory, so I respect the way he's handled the situation, but guys are frustrated, and that's expected when you're a playoff team and you start out a year 0-2.
Won the East last year with a record of 9-7. Finished strong. Here's a delayed handoff. Thompson takes it to the 30. Gain of just 2.
Well, they get down in there good, and then the penalty, backs them up, and the whole red zone area has been a real challenge for this offense this year. 1-4 in the red zone in the opener against Pittsburgh. 2 of 6 last week with an interception against Dallas. You see 15 of their 20 plays there, and this offense is really just shut down once they've gotten into this end of the field.
And that'll add on 5. Morgan Moses.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
So they get the great punt return from Jamison Crowder. There's the early movement by Moses, and now they've been going backwards. 2nd and 23 coming up. Cousins. Jackson his first catch. We talk about Deshaun Jackson with the 8 career touchdowns against the Giants. 5 receiving touchdowns. 2 on punt returns. 1 carrying the ball in as a rusher in this completion for 9 to the sideline from Cousins here.
The Giants were not going to allow anything down the field. They rushed 3 on that play. They dropped 8 guys into coverage. They had to come underneath, but still a long down and distance here at 3rd and 14.
Cousins pass broken up for Thompson, and the play is made by Leon Hall. It's 4th down.
Well, kind of the same thing that happened the last time the Redskins got down there, 3rd and long, and the Giants and Steve Spagnuolo just playing coverage, staying deep, keeping everything in front of them, and Cousins really has no choice. It's a ball that's behind him, but he wasn't going anywhere anyway. He's just had no choice but to come underneath on some of these throws, has not wanted to try to force anything. These 3 points are certainly important, but the Giants once again holding up down on this end of the field as they have throughout the year.
Kick is good by Dustin Hopkins from 45 yards away. 3 times into Giants territory, 3 times ending in a field goal for the Redskins down 5. Well, Washington turns their longest punt return in 54 games into 3 more points. And on the scoreboard, it has been all Dustin Hopkins. 5-point game. Giants have the ball, leading by 5. The return of Eli Apple, by the way, questionable. Bothered by a bad hamstring on a beautiful day, end of September in New Jersey.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Genesis. Take a breath of fresh luxury.
Offensive leaders for the Giants. Eli has started 7 for 10, has a touchdown to the man in the middle, Sterling Shepard. Shane Vereen has the other score. Up by 5.
Easy. Come back left. Hey, Orange.
clock at 1 as Orleans Darkwalk carries it over the left side.
It's a good job by Eli Manning, and that's what you would expect from a 13-year veteran. That they moved the tight end over, and they had a pass called, and they're going to give Bobby Hart, who's making the start for Newhouse at right tackle, give him some help. And then Eli, recognizing the Redskins playing coverage, he checks out of the pass and goes with the run, and they're able to pick up 5 yards.
One free jet, come 51. One free jet. You got it.
Second down and 5, Manning. Flag is down, and so is Eli as he slides short of the 30. It's a hold. And it's against the Giants.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Eric Flowers out here at left tackle, who gets his hands out, and they get him on the call. And there's Eli Apple, who's really done some really nice things, but he looks to be out right now with a hamstring.
That's the word from the bench. He's out. Big loss for the Giants. Here's Vereen, and the ball comes out. Scramble for the football. Both sides say they have it. No indication yet. And it stays with the Giants. His elbow may have been down anyway, but either way, it's going to bring up 3rd and long. Let's take a look. Yeah,
the elbow was down, and Shane Vereen, this is a team last week that turned it over 3 times with fumbles, and Shane Vereen was one of those that put it on the ground. But whether the Giants had recovered it or not, that was not going to be a fumble.
3rd down and 14. Manning steps into it. Pass is caught. Flag is down. Victor Cruz with a first down, but a flag has been thrown.
There's no foul on the play for defensive holding as the ball was in the air. Completed catch on the field is a ruling. First down.
How about this catch by Victor Cruz?
Yeah, he just runs a deep curl route, and the timing that Eli Manning turns it loose was really good work on his part. He had to fit it in there. Will Blackman, who's made the switch from corner to safety this year, he was extending, trying to make a play on the ball. Just short of getting a hand on it.
16-yard completion to Victor Cruz for a big first down. Now Vereen gets 2.
Yeah, you go back to the weapons that this Giants offense has, and we all know about Odell Beckham, but the other 2, Victor Cruz, what do you expect from him coming into the year? No one really knew, and even he said he's kind of surprised himself. And then for a rookie, Sterling Shepard, to have the impact he's had, it's given Eli a lot of weapons.
Pass is caught. Tight end will tie. 3rd and short coming up. Here's Carissa for the game break.
Thanks, Joe. Arizona at Buffalo. LaShawn McCoy, 5-yard touchdown run on this one. His second of the day. Bills up 17-0 in this one. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Wow. Who saw that coming? 17-0 Buffalo over Arizona. Meanwhile, 3rd and 2 here. Beckham and Norman at the bottom.
Right here. Bingo, JJ. 118. That's it.
Eli on 3rd down. Floats it. Pass incomplete. But a flag. Shane Vereen was the target. Was he held? Stuart Cravens, the rookie, was back there.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact, defense number 36. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So the automatic first down as the rookie gets the call.
Stuart Cravens, he's kind of a guy that can do a lot of different things, and you see Here's Josh Norman on Odell Beckham, but his safety help over the top, and so yeah, he's matched up on him, and we've seen it on the touchdown throw down the middle to Shepard. That
quick snap, too many men on the field against Washington. Here's Shepard, shakes the tackle. There are 2 fouls on the play. Shepard went around Deshaun Phillips, but there are 2 separate fouls, maybe even 3. There were 3 flags thrown, and it's going to take a moment to get through this by John Hussey. One is definitely on Cullen Jenkins for not getting off the field.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the same team. Defense had too many men on the field. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 93. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the catch, automatic. First down.
And that low hit into the knees by Trent Murphy. There were 3 flags on the field, only 2 penalties called, and that 15 yards. You can see Cullen Jenkins not able to get off in time.
Well, these veteran
18-yard
guys,
completion,
yeah,
Troy, plus 15.
Plus 15, and you know, we've seen Aaron Rodgers, you know, really be a master at it. These guys see these substitutions taking place, quick snap it, catch him with 12 men on the field, you get a free play. Trent Murphy really just he's just playing hard, comes in, and they get the call.
Here's Darkwa. Down to the 2. Bruton on the stop after a run of 15 yards.
Well, just outstanding blocking up front. John Jerry, the right guard. You got Weston Richburg, the center, and they create a crease right in the middle of this defense. And a little different design than what we've seen from them. A lot of times they're pulling guards and trapping people, but just straight up the gut, and they've had a lot of success through 3 weeks hitting that hole.
Darkwa again for the touchdown. Career touchdown for Orleans Darkwa.
The Giants don't have a fullback on the roster. They put Larry Donnell there in the fullback position, and he's able to make enough of a block to help spring Darkwa in for the touchdown. This is a tight end group, heavily criticized coming into this season for their lack of production in blocking. It's not something that comes natural for either one of those guys, but from the fullback position, Donnell is responsible for springing Darkwa for the 6 points.
2 key penalties on the drive by the Redskins defense. One of them a roughing the passer call against Trent Murphy. That tacked on 15 at the end of an 18-yard catch and run. Darkwa into the end zone, 21-9, Giants on top. As we welcome you back, it's getting heated on the Washington Redskins sideline. That is Chris Baker getting into it with Joe Barry. Tempers are short for the team that's 0-2, having lost their first 2 games at home. Talking about Washington. Meanwhile, for the Giants, last week they couldn't crack the end zone offensively. Different story here against a divisional rivalry, as they are leading at 21-9 as they've popped it in there 3 times. What is coming up on the herd? Here's Colin.
Every weekday, I'm bringing the most fearless sports talk to FS1. And tomorrow, we'll be talking about the showdown between ODB and Josh Norman. The Herd with me, Colin Coward, weekdays at noon Eastern, only on FS1.
So far, there hasn't been much to talk about with regard to Odell Beckham and Josh Norman. For the Redskins, they've had the ball 3 times. They've all 3 have ended in points, but field goals instead of touchdowns, and that's the difference. How does Washington respond here? Cousins keeps. Airs it out. Deshaun Jackson is wide open and hops out of bounds with a big gain on first down. 4 minutes, 5 seconds left in the half, and that one good for 31.
Well, this was good for 31. If he wanted 6 points, he takes it all the way outside to Pierre Garçon. Deshaun Jackson certainly open, but look what he had out here. They completely busted coverage. Janoris Jenkins, I don't know if he was anticipating safety help, but he didn't have it.
Here's one aired out for Jackson into the middle. Deshaun Jackson, touchdown. And number 11, whether he's wearing Eagles green or Redskins burgundy, another big one, that one from 44 yards out.
And there's nothing fancy here. I mean, he just takes off the balls we've seen so many times. It becomes a foot race, and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is actually in excellent coverage. Now the question is, did the ball come loose? And they'll take a look at this, but that ball was dropped right into the arms of Deshaun Jackson. And does he maintain possession?
Tough to see there. Rodgers-Cromartie got his hand in there, right there. And they're going to give it a longer look. Ruling on the field is touchdown. We'll get the call when we come back.
This isn't the country of just okay, which is why we are introducing a better network than ever before. Behold, the future of wireless is here.
Data limits? Some future.
Verizon's network isn't better if it's limited. Don't let them fool you. T-Mobile now covers 99.7% of Verizon's customers. Switch to the network built for unlimited data for everyone.
Good morning.
Mike Williams.
Where you headed today?
Deepwater Horizon.
Oh, take me down south. Oh, when you take me home, yeah. When you take me home, yeah.
Deepwater Horizon, rated PG-13, in theaters and IMAX Friday.
Be quiet here.
We're in a scoring review. Mike Pereira, you can hear his voice in the background. He's been looking at it in Los Angeles. There you can detect some movement. But remember, the call on the field is touchdown. And I guess, Mike, the question is there enough evidence to overturn the call?
I don't think so, Joe, because I'm focusing on the right hand, and that's the one you have to focus on. He has control with the right hand. Ball does touch the ground, but does he have control first there? Ball touches ground, but right hand stays on the ball. You know, to me, it's one of those that the league's been pretty good at staying with what was called on the field.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
That's a great catch by Deshaun Jackson. And you see the placement, the hand of Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie to be able to, maintain what looked like possession through the catch. Not enough there to overturn it, but boy, the Redskins desperately needed a play on that drive to come away with some kind of points. They come away with the touchdown, and still plenty of time in this half, but take a look at the number of throws against DRC. Now this defense for the Redskins is going to need to step up and make a stop, something they've had a hard time doing this first half.
Extra point is good. And it's again a 5-point affair. Deshaun Jackson, his first catch was good for 31. Now 44 more on the touchdown, and it looked like he went up to Jay Gruden and said, "Give me the rock." He knows what to do with the football when it is aired out. Troy, there really hasn't been anybody better in the last handful of years going down the field, whether it's with the Eagles or it's with the Washington Redskins, than Deshaun Jackson. He is just so good at that phase of the game.
Well, he is, and even Janoris Jenkins talked about it this week. Hey, he's just a deep threat, and so going in as a defense, and yet he'd only had one catch. He makes those two catches, one being the deep ball down the field, and it almost seemed that earlier in the half he was kind of setting up the defense as though he might be hobbled a little bit. He wasn't running at full speed on some of his routes, and I think that maybe you try to lull a defense to sleep a little bit, and if that was the tactic, it certainly helped. But Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, he was in good position, and he had his hand in there. I think it was just an exceptional throw and maybe even a better catch.
5-point game again. Harris will get to return this one. More of a pop-up kick from Hopkins. And Harris crosses the 20. That's it. 14-yard return. Well, NFL Play 60, the NFL's movement for a more active generation, encourages fans to get moving and play for 60 minutes every day. Learn how you can join the NFL Play 60 movement at NFL.com/Play60. It's on Monday. New Jersey native Jonathan Casillas and Janoris Jenkins were at KIPP Newark Collegiate Academy. Players joined a group of students in participating in 60 minutes of activity. And now with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left of activity in the first half, Giants have it. Marine carries. A gain of 2.
Well, this becomes a big possession for this Redskins defense, and they've just not really been able to stop this Giants offense. 3 of the 4 possessions for the Giants have resulted in touchdowns, and now your offense finally gets out there, makes a big play, comes away with a touchdown. This defense, a lot of bickering on the sidelines. Time for them now to step up and make some plays of their own.
Here's Beckham working on Norman, spins out of there and crosses the 40 out to the 42.
Not challenged. He's off the ball, and Norman giving up the underneath throw, and then you come up and you have to then make the tackle, which he's unable to do.
You see D'Angelo Hall, he was involved in the tackle, and he's down on the field. That went good for 18 to Beckham. There was so much talk during the week about where the Giants would put Beckham offensively, trying to get him away from Josh Norman. You saw those numbers. If you put him in the slot, you're not going to see Josh Norman. But they have a good slot receiver in Victor Cruz. They have another good young slot receiver in Sterling Shepard. So all those options for Eli Manning, and it's been a good first half for this Giants offense.
Yes, it has, and we'll go back and take a look here at D'Angelo Hall, and maybe we can figure out what might have got twisted up there a little bit. Already Bashad Breeland is out, and now we'll see what the status is going to be with D'Angelo Hall. They're starting to get thin there in the secondary ranks.
While they check on D'Angelo Hall, we will go for a game break. Here's Carissa.
Thanks, Joe. Minnesota at Carolina late in the second. The Panthers were up 10-2. Then Marcus Sherrill's punt return for a touchdown. They would go on to miss the extra point. Carolina's up 10-8 in this one. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Carissa, thanks. See how much help Hall needs with that right leg suspended, getting back to the bench. So they've lost Breeland, as Troy said. And now it looks like they've lost D'Angelo Hall.
Got to go back to your point, Joe, when you're talking about Odell Beckham and you know, so much obviously made coming into this game. And I can assure you that Odell Beckham, you know, he wasn't saying, "Hey, well, I'll line up in the slot." You know, they both these guys were looking forward to this matchup, and Eli certainly not unwilling to throw the ball in Norman's direction.
On first down, Manning. That's Donnell. Out near the 45. His time was running out. Manning had to get rid of it. A gain of just 3. Giants plenty of time coming up on the 2-minute warning and all 3 timeouts left. Redskins will start the second half with the football, by the way. Here's Vereen. Shane Vereen has had a lot of room to run. Spins it down to the 31. We're at the 2-minute warning after a 25-yard carry by the veteran Shane Vereen. Take a break, come back. The Giants on the move as they lead by 5. You can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. First down for the Giants after the long run by Shane Vereen. And seeing a lot of offense. More touchdowns for the Giants than the Redskins, but good first half. 37 total points. Giants lead by 5. Delayed handoff, and why not? Vereen finally is stopped. And it's Colin Jenkins down there in the middle of it. Trent Murphy would help. Prior to that, the Giants were averaging over 6 yards a carry in this opening half.
Yeah, they've been gashing them in this first half, and most of those big runs, if not all of them, are right between the guards. And on that long run prior to this last play, Justin Pugh makes an outstanding block, but they've really dominated the interior of that offensive line.
Easy, Panther.
Hand off to Vereen. Flag flies. It's the umpire who threw it. See if that's a hold. And it is a hold against the Giants.
Personal foul, face mask, offense number 74, 15-yard penalty, second down.
So it's even more than that. The personal foul on a face mask on Eric Flowers.
Well, Flowers had a couple penalties now. Here at left tackle.
And right there on Compton with the left hand.
I don't know that I agree with that penalty. I don't see anything real flagrant there, but nevertheless, it backs them up. They were in position there to come away with at least 3 in field goal range, and now they're backed up to almost midfield.
Second and 26 now. Here's Vereen out of the backfield. Ball is out. And the Redskins got back on top of it. We'll see if they get the football here officially. Knocked out by Will Blackman. And the early indication is Redskins football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, recovered by the defense, first down.
Recovered by Toller, knocked out by Will Blackman, the veteran safety.
Yeah, Blackman, who goes in for D'Angelo Hall there at safety, he comes up, and the guy who finishes him off is Sua Cravens. As you see, Blackman and Cravens then kind of knocks him back the other way, but Blackman continues with his hands on the ball and then rips it out. And like I said, Shane Vereen had a fumble last week, put the ball on the ground earlier that they were able to recover. And they ruled that his elbow was on the ground, but he's been a little loose with the football here through the last 2 weeks.
Now each side with a turnover in this first half. That's a big one.
Well, it's a play that this Redskins defense, really had to make in order to slow this Giants offense down, who they had been unable to do so. So after the touchdown of their own, to make a play and get the ball back to their offense with still time on the clock is big.
They're going to look at it just to make sure it's a turnover, so it's reviewed. And the question, I think the only question would be, is Toller comes away with the ball number 20. They want to make sure that the knee by Vereen is not down when the ball is ripped out by Blackman. It's a common refrain by Ben McAdoo. See the quote on the left, we need to handle the football better, we need to take care of the Duke. Ben McAdoo, and he was frustrated. 6 drives last week against the Saints ended in a fumble or drop. They had 3 turnovers coming into this game, -4 in the turnover ratio.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner completed the catch, was not down by contact, then subsequently fumbled the ball. Defense recovered, first down.
Anyone who's been covering the Giants since he took over as head coach has heard him say, you got to protect the Duke. And when we met with him on Friday, Joe, it was the first words out of his mouth, and they didn't protect the Duke there.
So what just transpired, the big Shane Vereen run had the Giants 1st and 10 at the Washington 31. And the negative run, the personal foul, the turnover. Here's Washington down by 5. It's against the Giants.
Encroachment, defense number 58. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Owa Odigizua is guilty of coming across trying to make a play, so it brings up 1st and 5. 2 timeouts left for Kirk Cousins.
Spurs.
Cousins, Crowder, that will be pass interference against Trevin Wade. And Crowder had blown right by him. Wade never got his head around.
Crowder gets by, and Cousins trying to throw a back shoulder fade, and as he tries to come back, that's
defense
the contact.
number 31. The ball we placed in spot of the foul, automatic, first down.
Trevin Wade, you got Eli Apple who's out, so you spread them out. You get some of these guys out there on the field who haven't had a lot of playing time. They go right after Wade.
They're going to mark it at the 38 of the Giants. Kirk Cousins has a lot of weapons to use. Here's one of them. Is Garcon is out of bounds. He's got Garcon. He's got Crowder, to say nothing of Deshaun Jackson. He's got Jones coming out of the backfield, Thompson, and Jordan Reed at tight end. That's a lot.
Yeah, and you don't even mention Vernon Davis, who is a guy that they brought in, and they would like to see him get more action. But you put him on the field, you're not going to bring out Jordan Reed. That means then you're taking out Crowder or Deshaun Jackson. That doesn't look so good either. So an excess of weapons for Kirk Cousins.
Blitz off the edge. Handoff is to Thompson. Depends on the spot as to whether it's a first down. As Steve Spagnuolo brought the blitz, and the Redskins carry it for a first. Keenan Robinson on the tackle. Pass is batted down. That's Jason Pierre-Paul. With 35 ticks left on the clock.
Just trying to fit it in that window. Pierre-Paul is able to get a hand on it, but even right now, this is good work by the Redskins offense. They're in field goal range right now, and a real turn of momentum. The way that they were able to get the deep ball to Deshaun Jackson, create the turnover, and Shane Vereen, and then have an opportunity to have 10 unanswered points at least at the end of this half.
You see how Cousins is spread it around today. Down the middle, Jackson incomplete. Coming over was Nat Burhay, and Jackson can't get up. Jackson, who has a touchdown catch in this one, a 44-yarder. 50th career touchdown, is banged up at the end of this play.
Yeah, he's kind of spent a career being banged up. He came in with knee and ankle problems, and I thought that, as you can see, it came off his hands. It was a well-thrown ball by Cousins. It's really the only throw he could have made. Just had to drive it in there to beat the corner, and he does, and that's one that Deshaun would like to have had. But he's on the ground. Like I said, he's a guy who, because of his size, he gets banged around a little bit. He's constantly having to battle through injuries. He missed 7 games last year with a hamstring injury, and he came into this one pretty banged up.
It's going to cost Washington a timeout. They're down to 1. Jay Gruden, who won the division last year with a record of 9-7, able to settle on Kirk Cousins. Cousins so good down the stretch when they were winning the division, playing under the franchise tag over his last 10 games last year. 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He can be dynamic. He can be accurate. He's been pretty good in this first half here against the Giants. Let's go to Carissa with the game break.
Thanks, Joe. A lot of action in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers to Jordy Nelson, his second of the day. That's Rodgers' 4th. Detroit responded, so the Packers are up 31-10 at the half. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
At the half for Aaron Rodgers, who came in with a career low quarterback rating of 82.6, fumbled 3 times last week, and I guess you can put the relax quote back out there for Aaron Rodgers to Green Bay Packer fans.
That'll help the old quarterback rating. A couple touchdown throws there to Jordy Nelson.
Oh, the right ankle and even the left ankle, but the right ankle got the brunt of that as it smacked into the body and the legs of Landon Collins. And it brings up 3rd down and 10. These two teams have combined for 448 yards and 37 points. 30 seconds left in the half. Three men on the rush. Pass is caught. That's Reed down to the 5. And they're not going to spend their last time out here. 11 seconds remain, and what a throw to Jordan Reed.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins able to buy some time. As you said, Joe, only a 3-man rush, gave a little bit of a different look. Steve Spagnuolo did, but you get Jordan Reed running down the middle, and Cousins, with time in the pocket, is able to hang in there and then drive one down the seam. And they were able to get the ball spiked, so they've got options here with 1 timeout remaining.
A 24-yard completion to Reed. All of this after the fumble by Vereen, forced by Blackman. And zone incomplete. Now 6 seconds are left. Crowder the target. I don't know. I think if you could rewind the tape, I get it, not using the timeout. But a lot of time left the clock. You're down here anyway, taking shots at the end zone. You may only get one more try.
You better be real careful here.
They spiked it on 1st down. That was 2nd down. This is 3rd down. Cousins. Pierre Paul knocked it out. Cousins back on top. And no time left on the clock at the moment.
Yeah, Joe, Kirk Cousins has to know you got to get the ball up quick. There's 6 seconds on the clock. I expected a quick fade, but you got to throw it immediately. And as soon as he held it, even before he started to scramble, they're going to run out of time. That's why I said you got to be real careful. There's 6 seconds on the clock. As soon as he made that move, but the ball had to come out as soon as he catches it. Otherwise, the 6 seconds is going to come off the clock. We saw it last year when he failed to spike the ball. He took a knee and they lost an opportunity for a field goal, and you just can't have those opportunities. A little surprised actually that Jay Gruden didn't elect to kick the field goal there and bypass even one more shot, because it was going to be close either way.
Meanwhile, Cousins has been really poor inside the red zone here to start the season. That a bad decision. Visa halftime coming up. It's a 5-point lead for the Giants at the break. To you by the new Nissan Titan. Was today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Well, Kirk Cousins, with better play inside the red zone, might have authored a completely different start to the season for the Redskins. Not only the mistakes he made last week at home against the Cowboys in that loss with that killer interception with the lead in the 4th quarter, but letting the clock expire and taking a sack before halftime. Not good. Here is Thompson on the return. And he is able to cross the 25. We go down to Aaron Andrews.
All right, let's start with Ben McAdoo. I asked him, what are you happy with? Nothing. He said, we're sloppy in all three phases of the game. What are those? Tackling, ball security, and penalties, and not happy that they did not take care of the Duke, of course, with that turnover. Now for Jay Gruden, he was not happy with the fact his team left too many points on the board. He said, we've got the ball here to start off the second half. Let's get some momentum. Let's get something going. What won't be going is D'Angelo Hall. He is done for the day with a knee injury. No word on Deshaun Jackson. Wait, I'm looking at him. They were looking at that left ankle and leg in the locker room, Joe.
Yeah, he got that left ankle hit and hit hard, but he's out there on the field on first down. Pass is right to him. Deshaun Jackson got a few. 3-yard gain, Leon Hall on the stop. So injuries have hit the defensive backfield on each side. The Giants are without Eli Apple. The Redskins are without Breeland and Hall, 2nd and 7.
Well, and the Giants with their secondary, they're a little better equipped to handle, some of those types of injuries as we've seen from Eli Apple, just because they've got more depth.
Lichtensteiger, Troy's getting looked at, so why don't we go back to that last play of the half?
But the fade here, and then Crowder is on the out route, and either way, you got a soft corner here, so you're not going to get the fade route. You're working the outside breaking route, but you got to know the ball's got to come out quick. And like I said, once the ball didn't come out right away, then you're either touchdown or you're running out of time, and he doesn't even allow himself to get the ball off. But you've got to know that as a quarterback, and with 6 seconds, you just don't have time to scramble around. The ball's got to come out. So the decision not to spike it, or not to call a timeout there after the completion, that's on the coaching staff. They make those decisions. So they decided they're going to save the one timeout. It gave them an option to run the ball on one of those plays, and they didn't do that. They threw it, but then Cousins, just with poor clock management, with 6 seconds left. So any momentum that they had gathered at the end of that half was lost by not coming away with at least 3 points.
You can see Lichtensteiger needed help getting out, so Spencer Long is in there snapping it out of the shotgun. Now the handoff to Jones, and he's been bottled up. A gain of just 2. So the offensive line has a different look than when we started this game. Lichtensteiger is not out there. He's on the sideline. Sean Laval is out with a bad ankle. Ty Nseki has taken over now at left tackle, and they moved Trent Williams into guard. So they are shuffled around up front. 3rd and 5. Low snap. Cousins just got rid of it. Pass broken up. And a good play by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie as he got in front of Pierre Garçon. And Cousins just got that ball out.
He just gets rid of it, and Rodgers-Cromartie, a very aggressive corner. In fact, both these guys, Janoris Jenkins and Rodgers-Cromartie, they'll take some chances. He drives back on the ball and is able to make a key breakup on 3rd down.
Tress Way now with his first punt. It's a good one. From just outside the 10, Dwayne Harris. And a flag for a hit along the sideline. Good punt by Tress Way. 57-yarder. Right now the ball's at the 27. We'll see where it ends up.
During their turn, block in the back, number 28 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, timeout.
They get Paul Perkins for a block in the back. Well, what's the second half going to be like for Odell Beckham? Josh Norman, first possession for the Giants, up 5.
This is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Dodge. And by Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach.
The original Duke on the wall at the Giants practice facility. It's a who's who. The history of this great organization. as they lead it by 5. Flags fly. Manning lets it fly, and Beckham has the catch. We'll check the flag. He was not working against Norman on that reception. This one good for 9. Started that one in the slot.
Illegal formation, offense. They started out illegal, then became legal in an illegal formation. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
John Hussey has done a good job before the game, and we highlighted this early. He went to Odell Beckham, talked to him about what this officiating crew was looking for after all that happened last year in Week 15 with Josh Norman, that man, and Beckham here when Norman was with the Carolina Panthers. Talked to both head coaches. Things have been fine. First down and 15.
118.
Hand off to Darkwa. We talked to Victor Cruz on Friday, and I believe him when Victor said, as far as Beckham last year, Beckham found out just how bright the spotlight is and how many eyes are on him playing the way he's played so well while in New York. And he fully believes that Beckham used that as the opportunity to learn a lesson, and he doesn't expect any of that stuff anymore.
I think the both head coaches obviously had conversations with those players. It was good that John Hussey did what he did. I think that's the responsibility of the referee, but I never thought there was going to be anything happening in this game.
Second and 14. Darkwa again. Third down coming up. The crowd doesn't like the play call after that 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd and 9.
We'll see now what the Redskins are able to do with their first defensive possession and making a stop again here in this game. They've given up 60% on 3rd down, which is right about where they were coming into the year. So this has just been a tough down regardless of whatever the distance has been needed by the offense.
Wait, is that? Hey, go to 36, go to 36. 180, that's it.
Pass is dropped by Shepard. Beckham and Norman were going at it again on that 3rd and 9, and the incompletion brings up 4th down.
Yeah, we've seen at times when Norman has been off, but he's getting safety help. We've seen that a few times, and when you're getting the help, then you can jam at the line of scrimmage. You can play underneath in the trail position. A good defensive stop there by the Redskins, and even if that had been caught, it was unlikely that it was going to be able to run for the first down.
On 4th down, Wing hits it. Crowder waits for it. Has a 52-yarder in this game, and this is a pretty good one back to midfield. So down by 5. Washington with the football right at midfield. Here are the offensive leaders for Washington. Cousins, Deshaun Jackson, Thompson.
Hey, 57.
Redskins haven't run it much coming into this game, and when they've run it, they haven't been effective. 2.9 a carry. A screen for Jones. Flag flies. Jones gets tackled with authority by Keenan Robinson, but a flag at the beginning of it.
Holding, offense number 75. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Sheriff.
Brandon Sheriff there at right guard, and I don't like that call either. They're running the screenplay. There's no reason for him to hold, and I don't think that he did. He goes down, and they get him with the call, and it eliminates what was a nice first down play.
So Sheriff guilty of the hold. I'm with you. There's Bill Callahan, who coaches the offensive line. His hands are full.
Hey, we're good, we're good. 180. Wait,
1st and 20 now. A toss to Thompson running right. Did what he could with it, and we'll do this with the broadcast. Send it to Carissa for a game break.
Thanks, Joe. Let's head to Carolina. Kyle Rudolph, nice big target to Sam Bradford, 15-yard touchdown catch here. They went for 2 and got it. Vikings up 16-10 on the road. Joe, fill it in.
How about Sam Bradford and what he's done with your former mentor, Norv Turner, pulling the strings with the Vikings.
Well, he's in a good position with some good players, but still, when you come in late like he did and trying to learn an offense, he's played great. Even more impressive, like I said, with a limited amount of time in that offense.
2nd and 15. Pass is broken up. No flag as Crowder got his feet tangled with Leon Hall. 3rd down and 15.
It looked like it might have been a good non-call. He's in the slot, and they just kind of got, I don't know if there was a push there or not. I know Crowder was wanting the flag, but this offense, they've had at times good field position, and they got the ball on the 36-yard line in the first half, had to settle for a field goal. This one goes backwards, and to get the ball at midfield and potentially not come away with any type of points would be a real disappointment.
Screen for Crowder. Crowder's going to break inside the 20. Still going for the touchdown. No flags. 55 yards on 3rd down and 15, and the Redskins are on top.
That's a credit to this offensive line. Trent Williams, who they moved inside to guard, he leads the way. He makes a key block, and then the other lineman down as well. And of course, Crowder has to make a couple guys miss, which he does, and to be 3rd and long and convert. You see the convoy there by this offensive line, and Reed also kicks out. But there's Trent Williams with a key block on Keenan Robinson. A big-time conversion for a touchdown on 3rd and long.
And now the extra point. It becomes a 2-point game. And for the first time, the Washington Redskins are on top. 55 yards. Jamison Crowder on 3rd and long. Now the Giants trail here at home.
Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network.
Well, the Giants defensively came in as the only team in the NFL that had not allowed a pass play of 30 or more yards. They've allowed 2 touchdown passes in this game of better than 30 yards. The longest play allowed by the Giants this season was that 55-yarder to Jamison Crowder for the first Washington lead of the day. And now trailing for the first time. It'll be Eli Manning in the offense starting at the 25. Joe Buck and the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman with you, and it's been impressive how the Redskins have hung tough after getting down big early.
It is, and to just keep battling. You know, I mean, they've had some adversity against them. They got guys going down the offensive line, and they don't come away with any kind of points there in the first half. And a resilient bunch here today, and it's really a testament to these players. And it's an important ball game. They lose this game, they're down 3.5 after 3 played within the division to the Giants.
This one to the sideline, caught by Cruz, and now he breaks loose. Eli and Victor Cruz with an answer. Good for 37.
Yeah, right up along the sideline there, and he's able to come back, make a play on the ball, breaks a tackle, and it's another one of these weapons that we've talked about, and his ability to create plays, and coming off really 2 big weeks and a big catch last week that set up the game winner, and then of course he had the game-winning reception week 1 against the Cowboys, so off to an excellent start.
Penalty flag on the play. Pass is in and out of the hands and will tie, but a flag is down for him.
The Giants have had a lot of penalties against them today. Both teams have, but especially the Giants.
Illegal formation offense, not enough men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty will be declined. 2nd down.
Second time the Giants have been called for that. New York came into this game with only 7 penalties called against them all year, the fewest in the NFL. Different story today. Now 2nd and 10. Here's Darkwood. Running hard. Orleans Darkwood at the 25. 13-yard carry.
Well, Justin Pugh, he pulls around, and just kicks out and leaves a hole, and then Darkwa breaking some tackles, and once again they're just puncturing the middle of that defense as we've seen throughout this game.
Hey, lead. To who? Lead the 51. 118. That's it.
Out of the backfield, it's Darkwa with room to move. Knocked down with a gain of 9. Good answer here by the Giants offense and Eli Manning.
This is impressive as we take a look at Justin Pugh and the job that he's done. You know, here he is, a first-round pick back in 2013, and he's really found himself a home. I think he has played very well here through, almost 3 games, and a real solid performer at that left guard position. He's made some nice blocks today.
Here is Darkwa for a first down. Remember the fumble by Shane Vereen. He's had a tough time hanging on to the ball, so Vereen is on the sideline, and Orleans Darkwa's in the game, and he's making the most of it as the Giants are inside the red zone.
Well, he sure is, and they're running that same play. They run the trap with Justin Pugh once again with a solid block that creates some real running lanes.
Play action. Manning out of his hands. And I think Darkwa was there to fall on it. He was.
Good job, Eli. Give us that ball.
Stripped was Eli Manning by Trent Murphy.
Trent Murphy coming off a heck of a game last week, and he's been back there. He gets pressure. He keeps playing, and if there's one thing about Eli, he will put the ball on the ground. And when you start moving up in the pocket with a lot of bodies, you got to secure it a little bit more than that. And had a fumble loss last week, and fortunate that he didn't lose one there.
He's over 100 fumbles for his career, a loss of 1 on the play.
118.
Second and goal. Manning steps into it and then throws it low for Beckham. Third and goal.
That was one of those throws that he was not committed on. He didn't like it. He didn't like what he saw, and essentially just kind of unloaded that ball.
He's been sacked 2 times. See if he maybe got a hand up high. He did from Preston Smith.
They usually call those, don't they?
It's now 3rd down and goal. Beckham in the slot.
Right here. 118. That's it.
With Norman on it. This one lofted up. Rainey. Taken away. And incomplete. And what a play by David Bruton. And the Redskins are going to argue that that was a takeaway and not incomplete. Let's take another look.
Take a look. I mean,
The ruling on the field is the defensive player was out of bounds. Incomplete pass.
Let's see. Ball is. Boy, that's close.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's an interception. And Rainey, good design. I thought they were going to run the slant route. He runs the slant and go.
We're going to have a challenge.
Yeah, I can understand why. That to me looks like it's going to be ruled an interception and a touchback. But they split out Rainey and they got a shot. It was just a ball that really hung a little bit on Eli.
That the defensive player was out of bounds. Timeout.
That left elbow hits down. And then the roll out of bounds by the time Bruton had control of the football. It's a big one. Redskins challenge. We'll get the call when we come back. Mike Pereira, what'd you see back in Los Angeles? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you're going to look at a shot here. Left elbow is going to hit down inbounds there in the rollover. Now the question is there a little bobble there? I'm looking at the play and I think interception because he's got left hand on the ball. It seems to stay on the ball even though the right hand does come off of it for a flash. But definitely elbow down inbounds and then he rolls over and starts to show the ball.
Mike, thanks. Here comes the call from John Hussey.
The ruling on the field after review stands as called. The pass is incomplete. 4th down.
Well, Jay Gruden is upset. Mike Pereira didn't agree, neither did you. I would throw in with the two of you, but they didn't see enough. The initial call was incomplete pass, so not enough in their estimation to overturn it. We'll have the first field goal try here to regain the lead. Josh Brown from 29. And the Giants are back on top. Jay Gruden still wondering about that challenge. Wednesday nights on Fox. Are you home for action, comedy, and drama? Damon Wayans and Clayton Crawford give a fresh take on Lethal Weapon. Watch an all-new episode Wednesday night here on Fox. Odell Beckham showing his frustration over on the bench.
Well, you see Jay Gruden obviously upset over on the sidelines, and in my opinion, rightfully so. It sure looked like an interception to me. It's a big 3 points in this ball game.
Also cost Jay a timeout. Meanwhile, in case you're wondering why Beckham's doing that on the sidelines, he's got 2 catches, 44 yards, a long of 26. With all that talk coming in about will he face Josh Norman, who didn't get a lot of action on Antonio Brown when he went off for 8 catches, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the opener against Pittsburgh. Or Des Bryant, who had 7 catches for over 100 last week. Beckham just with 2 catches. The Redskins down by 1 will start at the 25.
Well, as we've shown, Josh Norman is, at times he's matched up against Odell Beckham one-on-one. At times he's been across from him, and then they've been giving him some safety help, which certainly impacts then where Eli Manning's going to go with the football. But having said that, Josh Norman has played exceptionally well since coming here to Washington. Had a big forced fumble last week. In that ball game, he's covered well, and the guy, when he has gone against the Antonio Browns and the Des Bryants, and even in this game when he's been one-on-one, he's held up well, and he's lived up to the hype of what was expected when he got the big contract.
Cousins with a quarterback rating of 120.4 in this game, but down by a point. Pass is too high. That took off in the direction of Deshaun Jackson. And again, to recap, the Redskins are now without Sean Laval at left guard and Corey Lichtensteiger at center. They have no backup offensive lineman left available. And Secchi's at left tackle, Williams at left guard, Spencer Long, a third-year pro at center.
And a group that was already, when healthy, was struggling with running the football, and now when you start piecing it together, it becomes even more difficult to work in continuity in the run game.
2nd and 10, pass underneath, caught. That's Crowder. And Crowder's got a first down. Also has a touchdown in this game. That one good for 12. Now we understand that Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is questionable with a groin injury, so they're without him and Eli Apple. Each secondary's lost 2.
They have 2 of their top 3. I said earlier that they could withstand it a little bit better. They've got Leon Hall. He'll be relying on them. Of course, Trevin Wade, who's already been on the field playing in this game.
On first down, Cousins, Grant, broken up. Play made by Landon Collins.
Ryan Grant had a couple steps on him. You can see man-to-man Landon Collins, and he's by him. He's got a good couple yards, and a ball that was challenged, one that he got his hands on, could have come down with, but if it's laid out there a little bit more, he's off and running. Landon Collins, who in his second year, watching him, has come a long way. I thought he had a heck of a game last week.
2nd and 10. Extra men on the rush. Pass is behind. What a catch. Jordan Reed, but he goes backward for a moment. That is a tremendous play. From the catch to the effort, breaking tackles, 13 yards and a first down. Wow.
Well, pretty impressive with Jordan Reed. I mean, he's the workhorse. He's the guy that is the security blanket, but had a heck of a catch. But had Cousins been working down the middle, Jamison Crowder, they got safeties wide. There's no one in the middle of the field, and Crowder just gets a free release right down the middle. There's nobody there, but that's 6 points. But you know, sometimes those are easier said than done if you're working the opposite side of the field. But had Cousins have seen it, it was a touchdown.
Now Snacks Harrison, Damon Harrison, big free agent pickup from the Jets. Was slow to get off the field. 5:12 left. What a game.
Big pickup in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, 3-year starter with the Jets and great run defense while he was there. He comes here in a defense that really struggled last season against the run. They once again are a top 5 defense with Damon Harrison, man in the middle.
First down, Washington, right at midfield. 3 tight ends in there for the Redskins. Jones, right side. Ball is out. Burhay laid the hit, but the Redskins able to get back on it. Matt Burhay came up and popped Matt Jones.
Well, that's a big time hit. I'm a little surprised Jones is not down. That's a tough blow. You worry about those kinds of hits, and I couldn't tell, Joe, if Jones was down before the hit or not, before the ball came out. But you know, Burhay, that's what they talk about when they talk about him, is that he's a big-time hitter at the safety position. He loves contact, and they're going to take him out. This is what the protocol is all about, and you've got to check on a guy when he's been hit like that.
I'm with you. It felt like, well, it felt like he was in a seated position when that ball came out. I'm not sure that would have been a fumble, but it was a big hit either way, and he has to take a seat. 2nd and 5. Robert Kelly now in the game, and he gets hit hard. That's Burhay again. A gain of 1. 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, you know, Burhay, he's a 3rd-year guy. He missed all of last season with an injury. In his rookie year back in 2014, he was primarily a special teams guy. And he's been relied on a little bit more because of Darian Thompson, the rookie, who's been banged up. But that guy's a heat-sinking missile from the safety position.
3rd and 4. Cousins, flags down, Cousins sacked. Olivier Vernon got home. It's a hold against Washington. That'll be declined. 4th down.
Holding, offense number 76. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Big 3rd down. Jason Pierre-Paul with a speed rush off the edge. Morgan Moses, and he gets the hand. You see right around and a grab, and then Olivier Vernon coming in at the end of this to get Cousins on the ground.
Here's a fake. Pass is caught for a first down. Flag is thrown. It's Quentin Dunbar on the catch. And what a throw by Tress Way, but a flag on the play. This is some time to try a fake. will get the call from John Hussey. Long conversation about who it's against.
Yeah, there cannot be pass interference on a fake punt. There can be defensive holding. We'll see what they call.
There's no foul on the play for defensive holding. The result of the play is a catch and a first down.
So they get it to no foul on the play, and what a throw here by Tress Way.
Oh, it sure was. I mean, this is a timely call. And then, Dunbar's got to make the catch. I mean, there's contact. He's got to come back and make a play. Not an easy thing to do. Guy who's not used to catching the ball like this, and yet he's able to come back. And that's I like the call by Jake Gruden.
That is the first pass ever thrown by Tress Way. He's 1 for 1. Kelly in the backfield gets it. Kelly right side. And then goes down just outside the 15. A gain of 5. Tackled by Burhay. Here's the toss.
He was pretty calm in the pocket. He hung in there. He had a rusher. That was free and in his face, and good stuff. You don't make that. You're giving the ball to the Giants with awfully good field position, and now we'll see if the Redskins are able to finish it off with a touchdown.
What a thrill for Tress Way, third-year pro out of Oklahoma. Waived by the Bears in 2014.
Hey, we're good. Double. 180.
Second and 5, Kelly. Nothing. Another big third down coming up.
Well, he had a chance. He just slips, and he knows it because he had a cutback lane, and had he have been able to keep his feet and get to that backside hole, there was a pretty good running lane for him. And Robert Kelly, they liked. He had a heck of a preseason, ran the ball well. They say he's a mix between Matt Jones and Chris Thompson. He's not as big as Matt Jones, and he's not as quick as Chris Thompson, but Damon Harrison there on the sideline.
3rd and 4. Pass is caught. That's a first down. And a move made down inside the 5. Pierre Garçon with a good catch and a strong run. A gain of 11.
Soft coverage on the outside by Janoris Jenkins, and they're running the combination routes to that side. It causes him to play soft. They can corner route in behind him, and then they are able to work the ball underneath to Garçon. And it's a hard guy to get to the ground once he has the ball.
Well, again, red zone decisions have been poor by Kirk Cousins. Here they are. He's thrown 2 interceptions down here inside the 10 so far this season. 1st and goal. Hand off right side, Kelly. Good play is made by Kennard. Last year, Kirk Cousins was fantastic in the red zone. 22 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's thrown 2, and both have actually happened inside the 10 this season with just the 1 touchdown. 13th play of the drive. Extended by the fake punt. For the corner, not there. Crowder with good coverage by Wade.
Last week in this situation, they went to Josh Doxson, the rookie, on 3 fade routes down in the red zone during that ball game. Failed to connect on any of them. And this one, they're trying to go to Crowder from the slot position, but essentially the same area of the field and the same result.
3rd down. Cousins going to take it on a draw. Not there. Down he goes. And there's Harrison in the middle of it, off the sideline and into the action. And that's the end of quarter number 3. A field goal attempt coming up for the Redskins to try to regain the lead. A good stop by the Giants here. Back after this from your local Fox station. 25-yard field goal try coming from Dustin Hopkins, who is 3 for 3 on the day. 9 for 9 on the year. This to regain the lead. Washington back on top. All week long, the focus was on 13 and 24. Norman and Beckham. And we'll look at their afternoon. They've been head-to-head quite a bit today.
Well, two of the elite players at their positions. It's a heck of a matchup. I mean, it's one that as a football fan you look forward to seeing. And like I said, you're gonna, when you have that type of matchup against two outstanding players, and he's gonna win some, Odell Beckham is, and then Josh Norman, he's gonna win some as well. And I don't think it impacts really what Eli Manning is thinking and where he wants to go with the football, but it's been cleanly played, and like I said all along, it's what was expected coming into this game. You see, thrown to 5 times and with 2 receptions, and I'm sure he would like to add to that.
It's the only 5 times that Eli has dropped back. Norman has been elsewhere, away from number 13. So now Eli Manning has to do what he's done very well in his NFL career. We're in the final quarter, and he knows what to do when his team is tied or down, and they're down by 2. 15-play drive. Big part of that drive was the fake punt. Good throw by Tress Way. Catch made by Dunbar. 3 points the result. What's coming up next week? It's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. It starts with Fox NFL Kickoff, America's #1 pregame show, and then these matchups early. Seahawks and the Jets, Panthers, Falcons, Lions, Bears. Troy and I will be in Santa Clara for the Cowboys and the 49ers. Rams and Cardinals, Saints and Chargers. That's on Fox next week. On Fox right now is a good one between Washington and New York. Bobby Rainey in the backfield.
118. That's it.
Manning. Pass is caught somehow. Shepard hangs on. And they throw the flag on the hit.
It's going to be a penalty on Josh Norman, but after Eli had his back to the line because it was play action, and Norman completely abandons Odell Beckham on the outside. Off the play action, they turn him completely loose. Beckham's trying to get Eli's attention. It's a touchdown if he finds him, but here's the collision on the backside with Norman coming across, and an easy call to make. But the play action is what got Norman off of Odell Beckham, and then his eyes inside to the crossing route. But while doing that, you turn Beckham loose, and unfortunately for the Giants, Eli didn't see it.
Unnecessary roughness. Hit to the helmet area of the defensive receiver. 15 yards, automatic, first down.
That was a shoulder pad up high into the helmet of Sterling Shepard.
And John Hussey right there to get in the middle of it, so good job by him. But definitely a target. I think that's one when you're coming in and you've got your eyes on the receiver, you can lower your sight on where you're taking on the tackle.
Now on first down. Here's Beckham. What a catch, a one-hander for number 13.
And this is a tough throw, and Eli, he fits it in there, but the catch, because there's safety help over the top, so it's a small window that you have to work with before the safety Bruton comes in.
Another catch by Beckham. Goes right through Norman. Still going. Inside the 10 to the 5. And a flag at the end of it. Flag came in late. First of all, here's the front end of it with Beckham getting around Norman. You get hands up high. Let's see who it's against.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. number 70 of the offense. This is his second foul of the same type in the category. He's ejected from the football game.
This is the new rule. 2 fouls. Watch Weston Richburg as he takes a shot at Josh Norman.
Well, how about Beckham right now? I mean, a guy in the last 2 plays, get him the ball. I mean, he's ready to make something happen. Looked like he was going to score on the play. And right now, they're without Weston Richburg, their center. And that's the new rule that they put in this year, and it came into play in the offseason because of what happened between Odell Beckham and Josh Norman in that game here last, December.
And he has to leave the field, so Richburg is gone, and Brett Jones takes over at center. It was a 24-yard gain to the 5, then a penalty, 1st and 10 at the 20. Manning, Rainey, incomplete. And a flag is thrown as Beckham and Norman got into it again.
Well, somebody better get these Redskins away from the officials, and Norman's right there in the middle of it.
Before the pass is thrown, holding, defense number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So they get 5 yards closer with this.
It's a good call. I mean, he's got his arms around him, he grabs him, and couldn't tell exactly what Beckham was doing with his left arm and hand, but from that shot there, I think it was the right call.
Shane Vereen is checked back in. The Giants with 8 penalties had 7 all season. Well, through 2 games coming in. And now Washington with 7 in the game.
Well, Beckham starts to his left. He moves over. He's in the slot. And then so you got Norman who works all the way to the outside.
Manning. This one is picked. Intercepted down the middle by Dunbar. Trying to get it to Will Tye, and a one-handed interception by Quentin Dunbar. The man who made the catch on the fake punt. And the turnover. Redskins have it up 2.
By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Burger King, introducing the new Cheetos chicken fries, only at Burger King.
These 2 teams are trading one-handed catches, the latest for the interception, second career for Quentin Dunbar, a big one in the end zone. Like what Washington suffered offensively last week against Dallas. Cousins keeps it, protected. To the sideline, pass caught by Matt Jones. Forced out by Collins, back to the pick.
Yeah, Will Tye, he's a tight end. You're going to see him take the middle, and what Eli Manning sees, and when he turns it loose, Will Tye is a good target. He's got to win on that route, and he gives up, and Beckham's headbutting equipment on the sidelines. He hits the kicking net, takes another shot to the head. He probably ought to avoid that stuff, but Will Tye really hung out his quarterback on that throw, which resulted in the interception.
Here's Jones left side for the first down. And a 2-point game down to Aaron Andrews.
Well, something we did not see in last year's matchup between Odell Beckham and Josh Norman was someone coming over to Odell and calming him down. I'm sitting here watching him pace up and down this sideline, but something that did happen this time around, his quarterback, Eli Manning, coming over, his wide receivers coach, Adam Henry, getting in his face, grabbing him and telling him to knock it off. He hasn't simmered down at all, though, guys. He is mad.
Well, he had the momentum going. I think he wanted to get it again. And
yeah, he was a man possessed on those 2 catches after he didn't get the ball when coverage was busted.
Here's Jones as the Redskins try and prove they can run it. Matt Jones brought down by Wade, a gain of 3, and this is what Aaron was talking about, something that frankly took us by surprise, especially with Tom Coughlin, the head coach, on the sideline, that nobody got to Odell Beckham when all that was heating up last year in Week 15 in the Carolina game.
That's a good job by Eli going over, and it's hard to calm down when you're that emotional.
Cousins avoids the sack and somehow gets rid of it. And over the head of Deshaun Jackson, so no grounding. It's a good job by Cousins to avoid a sack. Pressure by Keenan Robinson. There he is.
A lot of pressure. Keenan Robinson, he's the one who's able to get there first, get a hold of the leg, and hear the rest of them come. And good awareness and ability by Cousins just unloading.
Damon Harrison has been in and out of the lineup. Has hobbled over to the sideline. Meanwhile, the makeshift offensive line for the Redskins having a tough go. And a timeout with a play clock at 1. Down to 1 timeout for Washington. Frustration on the sideline for number 13 and others in a 2-point game. 3rd down and 7. Jason Pierre-Paul came across.
Offside. Defense number 90. Unimpeded path to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Again, that is 9 penalties against the Giants. They had 7 through the first 2 games.
Big 5-yard penalty. Instead of 3rd and 7, now 3rd and 2. It opens up a lot more plays for the Redskins to run here.
Football field's worth of yardage on the penalties, now 3rd and 2. Thompson, good play. And it's the ex-Redskin Robinson who made it.
Keenan Robinson sees it the entire way right here. He's going to recognize the play. He gets over there. There's no way that they're going to be able to knock him out and give him a chance to get inside of that. And Keenan Robinson makes a big stop on 3rd and 2.
Jason Pierre-Paul is down and getting looked at. In on that stop, but it was Keenan Robinson who made the play. Two-point Washington lead with 11 and a half left, and Tress Way, who's made his biggest impact with his arm, not his leg, will punt it with Dwayne Harris waiting. Come the Giants. They get there. Block punt. Inside the 20. It goes out of bounds as Romeo Okwara got in there.
Well, that was too easy for Okwara. He was able to just run right through the middle of that offensive line, essentially. You see him on the right side there, 78. They just do not hold him up at all. He's just got a straight shot for the block.
Special teams have given and taken away for Washington. And then the ball was batted out of bounds. That's where they threw the flag. There have been big special teams plays all around. This one made by Romeo Okwara, a guy who made the team with 3 sacks in the preseason. Here's the call.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Illegal batting of a loose ball out of bounds by the offense, number 73. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense. Those fouls will offset. Replay 4th down.
Unbelievable. Because of the personal foul, after the batting of the football, there is no block punt. And let's see who it's against. It's right there, and that's an easy call. That's Andrew Adams.
Wow, talk about a change. I mean, Adams just dumped play. And
Andrew Adams, who is a fringe player on this roster. And you can see Ben McAdoo saying, who's that called on? It was called on 33. and that wipes away the block. He was just added to the active roster yesterday, Andrew Adams. That is a big penalty. Wade just gets it off. And out of bounds it goes. So instead of taking over inside the 20 after the block by Okwara, the personal foul against Adams wipes it away.
All the penalties the Giants have had, and that's been the biggest one of the game, and what a turn of momentum.
Giants have the football as they trail by 2.
DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
Along with our producer Richie Zions, our director Rich Russo, we welcome those of you just joining us. This game has gone back and forth. At one point, Washington trailed by 12, 21-9. Well, now Washington had the lead, lost it, back on top. Just had a block punt erased by a penalty against the Giants, and a young player, Andrew Adams, as the pass is caught by Sterling Shepard. And if he's proven one thing, this Sterling Shepard, he is tough. He's strong. They knew that with the bench press at the combine, but he's tough.
Well, he showed that if he hadn't already when Josh Norman took the shot to his head. Been quite a contributor here through 3 games.
2nd and 2.
Hey, heavy 41, heavy to 41. To the right, to the right. 118. That's it.
Beckham with a nice catch, spinning into Washington territory.
Well, Bobby Hart getting the start at right tackle, and he comes out and makes a big block, and that's what Eli was communicating at the line of scrimmage, was to pick up the blitzer off the edge, and Bobby Hart does it, and then it allows Eli to hang in the pocket and find his guy Odell Beckham.
118. That's it.
Beckham again. Plenty of cushion by Norman. Not anywhere near it. And Odell Beckham is good for another first down as he gets 11.
You can tell there certainly was conversation on the sidelines, and when you've got a receiver who is that possessed for the football, you try to find ways to get in his hands and see what he can do. And if he's getting looks, he's got a one-on-one look down here at the bottom right now. See if Eli takes it.
118. That's it.
This one for Shepard overthrown. Meanwhile, if you are just joining us, obviously all the conversation coming in this week was about Beckham and Norman. There they are. Odell Beckham has been thoroughly frustrated. Watched him knock over the kicking net that banged into his head as he made his way to the sideline a moment ago. He was banging his head on the equipment trunk. But he's making noise on the field right now. 2nd and 10. Kareem, room to run, out of bounds at the 20.
Well, it's certainly got the attention of the Washington Redskins. So you put Beckham out to the left, you've got Norman on him, but he's getting safety help. And so Eli then works opposite of the rotation in the coverage, and they're able to get a nice gain out in the flat.
51. 118. That's it.
Manning throws, pass is broken up. Could have been picked. And coming out of there is Sua Cravens, the rookie. 2 Redskins had a shot at that underthrow.
Yeah, if Cravens, either he should catch it, or if he doesn't, then you've got Bruton, who is in position to make the interception if the ball's not touched. Just not a good decision by Eli Manning. Very fortunate that they still have the ball.
No, he flew it back. 118. That's it.
2nd and 10. Manning. Beckham. Ball is out. They're saying incomplete. They call these bang bang. It was catch and then drop.
Hey, that looked close to me, Joe, about a fumble.
Here it is earlier with Will Tye down the middle and a one-handed interception by Quentin Dunbar. And that's what led to this. Beckham on the sideline and gets whacked by the kicking net. They're slamming his helmet into the edge of it. You're right, that was close.
Close. He made a move. I mean, that's what they're looking for, and I'm surprised maybe that wouldn't take a look at that one.
Third down and 10. Pass is caught. That's Beckham, but he's short of a first down. As Josh Norman tells you, it's fourth down, and the field goal unit has to come on here to try to regain the lead. Beckham, for the 16th time in 30 career games, is over 100 yards receiving. It's been a good second half. Frustrating at times for Beckham, but it's helped keep his team afloat.
Well, I've never been around a great receiver who wasn't pretty emotional, you know, in these types of games and wanting the ball in critical situations, and Beckham's no different.
Low snap, good hold by Brad Wing. And that was as much number 9 holding it as it was Brown knocking the 30-yarder through. Norman's hitting everything today. Back on top are the Giants by 1. Taking another couple looks at that catch, no catch with Odell Beckham. I think you'll agree that it was a good no challenge by Jay Gruden. We'll show it to you going to break unless something crazy happens here. The 4th lead change in this second half. It's the Giants on top by 1. The drive will start at the 25 for Kirk Cousins. Here's that no catch by Beckham moments ago before the field goal. All part of the process of the catch. Good no challenge. Giants have a 1-point lead. Defense has been good for the Giants again today. Another 400-plus yard day for the offense, but the defense not as good as weeks 1 and 2. Now the Redskins go to work, down by a point. Here's Matt Jones, right side. Good play. Jonathan Hankins. Again, 1.
Hankins is, we've talked about Damon Harrison. Jonathan Hankins, he really had a nice game today as well. He made a really great play on the quarterback draw by Kirk Cousins, which kept them from being able to get anything going on that possession. But you know, the Redskins trying to run the football, they just unable to do it once again this week, and it's all on Kirk Cousins now.
2nd and 9.
Big good. GT. Yes.
Looked like the right guard Sheriff moved. Moses too.
Snap infraction. Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
They called it on the center, but it looked like Sheriff may have rocked just a bit. A new audience joining us. This has been some game. Obviously rivals in the NFC East. That's us. The summary, the days for the 2 quarterbacks. 4 lead changes in the second half. Plenty to show you. 2nd and 14. Pass is incomplete. And a flag late. That may be for a hit on Cousins. Olivier Vernon got in there. Let's see.
Olivier Vernon, 54. He comes in and lowers the head to the helmet.
Passer. Defense number 54. Contact to the helmet area. 15 yards. Automatic. First down.
As much that left arm as it was the helmet, and another killer penalty against the Giants. They've lost their center on offense for 2 unsportsmanlike conduct calls. Flowers has had a face mask. Adams an unnecessary roughness call. Vernon now a personal foul. 118 penalty yards racked up by the Giants.
It's unheard of. You know, they say about 7 points for every 100 yards of penalties, and you can see the effect it's had.
Redskins still trying to run it, and this one of their better ones of the day as Matt Jones takes it. Game 6. Here's a recap. It was all New York early. Sterling Shepard, the rookie, with his 2nd touchdown of his rookie season. A long one of 44 yards to Deshaun Jackson. And a catch and run by Jamison Crowder of 55 yards. Beckham, he got involved. He's been going at it with Josh Norman all day long. And the interception by Dunbar, the frustration by Beckham. The field goal, the last score, it belongs to the Giants. Here's Jones. There's the hit by Collins. It'll be third down and short for Washington.
Well, Washington, I mean, they're really short-handed. You know, with all the moves that they've had to make along that offensive line, piecing this thing together, and tight ball game, and Jay Gruden, and they continue to call the running game. Haven't gotten a whole lot out of it, but it's hard to sit back there and just throw the football with this line that hasn't worked in the positions that they're in. It's a real challenge right now going up against this defense.
Without Lichtensteiger at center and Laval at guard. 3rd and 1. Jones, first down, and more to the Giants 45. In this hard-hitting game, some big names have been lost on each side. Bashaud Breeland went out early. D'Angelo Hall in the first half. Lichtensteiger here in the second half. Eli Apple and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie for the Giants in their secondary, and that graphic does not include Sean Laval, who is out the starting left guard, and that's forced an entire change up front for Washington. Pass is caught by Jackson, and Deshaun Jackson is going to be just short of first down yardage. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Right now, Washington right at the outer edge of field goal range for Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice drive for the Redskins, trying to climb back in and recapture the lead, aided by the big penalty, 15-yarder on Olivier Vernon.
Jones left side. He's got a first down. Still rolling down to the 25. And maybe even to the 24. That's a 12-yard carry and his longest of the day.
Well, I'm impressed. Trent Williams at left guard, he's done an excellent job. And then Ty and Secchi, who moved to left tackle, those two guys on that left side are doing, look like the helmets got stuck together, but some tough running there.
Take a break. First down for Washington when we come back. How good is this game on Sunday, September 25th? A one-point affair. And the Redskins on this drive, Troy, have run it 5 times for 32 yards, thrown it only once for 9. So an offensive line for Jay Gruden, offensive coordinator Sean McVay, they've done a nice job here with the ground game.
They have. This is the best they've run the ball in this game, is on this drive, and it obviously comes at a good time with under 4 minutes to play, and they'd like to continue to pound the ball, take time off the clock, and end this thing and with a win and taking the lead. But we'll see if they're able to continue to do that. But like I said, that left side of the offensive line that's pieced together with Trent Williams, the left tackle, moving inside, and then Secchi going out to tackle, made some nice blocks on those 2 long runs of this possession.
Tight formation, they stay on the ground. It's Jones with a little cutback. Another nice carry for Matt Jones. So here are the Redskins, having lost the first 2 games of the season at home. No team since the Eagles in 03 started 0-2 with 2 losses at home and made the playoffs. The defending division champions, and they are in a fight here in the Meadowlands in this game against the Giants. Play selection, such a story coming in. They had run it only 29 times all season, well, through 2 games before today. 2nd and 4. Tight formation again. They stay on the ground. Jones. 3rd and short coming up.
I think you credit Sean McVay, the offensive coordinator, like you said, along with Jay Gruden. They've had a lot of opportunities in this game to get away from the running game. They got away with it last week when the game was tight. Today they had not had much success, and yet they've stuck with it, and it's been good because you take a little bit of the pressure off your quarterback, and on this drive it's really paid off for them. 6 yards on the first down carry, and now a big third down, but Kirk Cousins, he's got to be smart here, knowing the situation and a 1-point deficit and clearly in field goal range.
Well, that is a lot of time off the clock. The Giants with all 3 timeouts. We're at the 2-minute warning in the Meadowlands.
Fox is sponsored by Lowe's.
Take a look at the NFC East and realize that after the Josh Brown field goal, this drive for Washington started at their own 25 with just under 8 minutes left. 7:53. Now 2 minutes are left. 3rd and 3. It's Jones. Good play by the Giants defense. Are you surprised they don't throw it there and try and pick up the first down?
Yeah, I am. I think a conservative call, no question. I think they look at it and say, hey, we'll force a timeout by New York and we get a field goal. We're in field goal range. But they've got plenty of time on the clock and they've still got 2 timeouts. Even if the clock stops on an incompletion, I think the reward for picking up the first down is too great through the air. I am surprised.
Kicking unit, it's Nick Sundberg, a veteran, snapping at Tress Way, holding at Dustin Hopkins. We'll try the 37-yarder for the lead. He's 4 for 4 on the day, 10 for 10 on the year. Plenty of time left for Eli Manning if this were to go through. If it doesn't, night-night. Day for Hopkins. And the Redskins back on top by 2. What a game. Look out, Zorn is here and he's going to slay Fox Sundays. TV's most original new comedy is being called Really Funny and Hilariously Weird. Son of Zorn comes to conquer tonight after The Simpsons here on Fox. Well, now it's Eli Manning who has made a habit of directing game-winning drives in the 4th quarter or overtime in his 13-year career now. Even credit him with one last week. Now it's playing from behind, but if you throw ties into it, which was the situation last week against the Saints, 30 game-winning drives. In this type situation, he'll have 1:51 as of this moment. And 2 timeouts.
He's done it a lot. He's done it a lot in regular season. Heck, he's done it in postseason. There's not many guys you'd take over Eli Manning. They're 1:51 and 2 timeouts and down 2 points to direct this possession and see if he can come away with another win.
5th lead change of the half. Giants will ask number 10 to do what they've asked him to do many times. 2-time Super Bowl MVP as Hopkins drills it. Minute 51 left. And here's number 10. If you include the postseason, 35 career 4th quarter or overtime game-winning drives. If number 36 comes here today, the Giants will be 3-0. Pass is caught. That's the tight end. Larry Donnell brought down immediately a gain of 6.
Good start. You know, as an offense, you want to get the no huddle going. So you get a completion or you run the ball on first down and then you're off and running and putting the pressure on the defense.
Lead. What's it?
Here's Shepard. They may get Beckham here. Beckham was tangled up with Norman. 2 flags are thrown on the play.
I think they're going to get Beckham for an offensive pick. Pretty easy call, actually.
Pass interference. Offense number 13. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So it marches the football back. In case you're wondering, Josh Brown, his career-long 58 yards. It did come 13 seasons ago at Green Bay. That means getting the ball to the 40 of Washington. Second and 14. Underneath off the hands of Vereen.
Good idea. You know, they got Shane Vereen coming out of the backfield just a little too far out in front of him, unable to make the completion. He's as good as there is. Ball just a little too far out.
Manning. Pass is caught for the first down. Victor Cruz.
A really good pocket awareness by Eli Manning. He's working to the left side. He steps up into the pocket, buys himself some time, and then finds a wide open Victor Cruz. No panic there on 3rd and long. Excellent job.
Each side is going to be left with one timeout as the Giants take one here. Say what you want about Eli Manning. There's not a defense in the NFL that wants to see number 10 on the field in this type situation. You almost expect it to happen for Eli Manning as he finds one of his weapons, Victor Cruz.
Well, he's got a real command of this offense, and 3rd year within the system, and then of course being in this situation, as we pointed out so many times over the course of his career, he's confident that he can get it done.
Need about 21 more yards to have a shot. Plenty of time. Pass is picked. Intercepted by Washington. And the Redskins are going to ride that to win number 1. Sua Cravens, the rookie.
Defensive coordinator Joe Barry was talking about Sua Cravens the other day and how they believe he's a real playmaker, and he's able to just kind of spin Shane Vereen. It looked like Shane Vereen was going to come underneath and make a play, and as they go to throw it, he's able to come underneath the throw, undercut it, lay out, and make a play on the ball.
Cravens, the rookie, a 2nd-round pick out of USC. Comes away with the interception, and he's now that new breed of small linebackers like Dayon Buchanan in Arizona, like Mark Barron with the Rams, and Eli now part of a team that's turned the ball over 3 times today, and they're -6 in the turnover ratio after 3 games. Protect the Duke. That's what Ben McAdoo says over and over again. 2 interceptions by Eli Manning. They will haunt him tonight. Earlier going in, Quentin Dunbar with a one-handed catch with the left hand. And then moments ago, after the first down completion to Victor Cruz, it's Sua Cravens for the game ender.
Well, the Giants obviously disappointed. They're going to look at this and talk about the mistakes and the turnovers, but let's give credit to the Washington Redskins. They come in on the road 0-2, needing a win desperately against the division leader, had a lot of reasons to lay down and not come away with a win. They had their turnovers themselves. They had some questionable play at quarterback at the end of the half, a makeshift offensive line. It's a big-time win for this Redskins team, and one that they definitely needed.
Well, the world looks a lot different for the Washington Redskins making their way out of MetLife Stadium than it did coming in. Talk of dissension on the team, finger pointing. Kirk Cousins, his day. 21 of 35, 296, 2 touchdowns, no picks. We'll come back after this.